cat. It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Hello everyone, welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show, where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. And we're continuing with the theme of Washington Wine Month. March is the official Washington Wine Month. They added August, but March is the one I get mostly excited about. That's the original. That's the month where I look at Washington wines and talk about them and sell them and do all that good stuff with Washington wines. Now, that being said, I know I live in Washington, and a lot of people think that Washington wine drinkers are snobs about Washington wine. I drink wine no matter where it comes from. I don't care. I think Washington wines are great. I think there's great California wines. I think great Oregon wines all over the world. Australia, Greece, France, Spain, Italy, they're all good. They're not all good, but you get the point. They all make great wines. And so, yeah, I'm focusing on Washington wines in March, but that does not mean that I feel that Washington is the best wine region in the world by any stretch of the imagination. I think you can find great wines all around the world, and yes, there are good Washington wines, and that's what we're going to look at today, Syrah. In fact, since I'm only doing 2 episodes, it's my Tuesday episode, episode 312, 313, excuse me, bookending of threes, that's it. Episode 313. I'm only going to do a couple more since I'm only doing 2 a week. So we won't have it, like, I won't bury you with Washington wines. I did it when I first started this thing. I remember I hit Washington Wine Month and it was Washington wine, Washington wine, Washington wine, Washington. You know, that can get tiresome. I understand. Variety is the spice of life. But talking about Washington wines, Syrah is probably one of the better wines that come out of Washington State. Syrah, Merlot, Riesling would be probably my top 3 wines that come out of Washington State. Personally, I feel that way. So we will be doing a Riesling episode, and we'll be doing a Merlot episode. Just forewarning you. Not forewarning you, I hope you're enjoying these. But Syrah is great because Washington State is pretty much on the same parallel as the Rhone Valley, where Syrah is really a big part of the Chateauneuf de Pop blends. It's 100% Syrah and Côte Rôtie, Expendi wines. Saint Joseph, 100% Syrah. So, and then of course down in the Southern Rhone, they use Syrah a ton. Syrah, Grenache, Mourvedre are the top 3 grapes down there, amongst other things, of course. But Syrah in Washington State really expresses itself well. And the cool thing about Syrah, what I like about Syrah, is that it has varying levels of quality and characters. You can have Syrahs that are high in acid and tannins. You can have Syrahs that are big, voluptuous, massive wines. They go both ways. Of course, we all know about Shiraz. Syrah is Shiraz out of Australia. Definitely bigger, bolder wines down there. However, there are some areas in Australia where they do not necessarily get that big and bold. They're more structured, higher in tannin, etc., etc. Margaret River area is one that comes to my mind. They do Syrah in Hawke's Bay, New Zealand, and that is a little higher in acid and tannins there. But that's what I like about Syrah. It has so many different characteristics. Sad to say, Syrah suffered the same demise as Merlot for a while, starting to come back slowly. But people quit buying Syrah because, well, in my personal opinion, Australia flooded the market with cheap Shiraz, Yellowtail, Lindemans, Jacobs Creek, all those guys, and it really wore people out. You know, like I said, variety is the spice of life. People got tired of Shiraz. We, as wine guys, started telling people, no, Shiraz, Syrah, the same thing. Maybe we shouldn't have told them, because the decline in interest in Australian Shiraz caused a decline in interest in Syrah from Washington, California, etc., etc. But let's get started right away. You notice I have decanters out here, and I'm not doing a decanting episode, but a couple of these Syrahs are big enough and bold enough they felt that they would benefit from a little decanting, a better review of those wines. I've always told you I like to do these like the consumer does, but I also encourage you as a consumer to decant your wines. You don't have to use a decanter. I just happen to have these. Over the years, I've collected a few, but and actually they were all gifts. So I didn't even buy them. But I would pour them in a mason jar, a Kool-Aid pitcher, whatever you want to do. Just splash it in there. Give it a little decanting. It always helps. Actually helps any wine, to be honest. But these guys are big bad boys, so I'm going to give them a decanting. I wasn't going to decant Novelty Hill, but you know, for Michael Janik, I'll throw it in a decanter just to be fair. I want to play fair. So let's get started. The 2011 Novelty Hill Syrah Columbia Valley rolls in at $23. I pulled these out of my cellar just so you know. So the vintages are going to be a little bit varied. I doubt if you can get a 2011 Novelty Hill, but this 11 was a tougher vintage, so I'd be curious to see how this one plays out. $23, a little Michael Jordan action. Michael Janik was one of the lead winemakers, head winemaker at Chateau Saint Michel for a while. Now he runs his own Janik Winery and Novelty Hill. They have the same building together in Woodinville, and Michael is very good about helping other winemakers when they have questions. He's kind of a homebody, doesn't like to go out much. There we go. So these have been decanted just about an hour, so not a long time. Let's see what we get on the nose. So this has definitely like a toasty, I'm getting a little chocolate tobacco. Toasty blackberries are coming through. Little mint action, which wouldn't surprise me because 11 was a little bit of a cooler vintage. Now, to be in all fairness, I know 11 was a tough vintage, but a lot of good winemakers, the 11s are really expressing themselves now. So if you have some 11s you tucked away, sometimes vintages can fool you. They're a little tough at first, but if these guys get quality fruit, and Michael Janik gets a lot of good fruit because he has a lot of great connections, you end up getting wines that, after 6 years, end up turning out pretty good. Tobaccos, I'm getting a little bit of plum action. Let's see what we get on the palate. A little one-dimensional on the palate. It has good flavors. I'm not getting a lot of layers, but I get a lot of tobacco. A little bit of blackberry and plum coming through on there. I got a split on my lip, and that just really, really got me. A little meat action on the back end, like a little bit of a pot roast sort of thing going on, like roasted meats on the back end. The blackberry, a little bit of black pepper coming through on the back side. This is $23. I think it's a pretty well-built Syrah. I think this would be a great food Syrah. I could definitely see this going with stews or, pot roast. Definitely could go with, pork. The tannins aren't super high, super strong on this one. I am going to say it lacks pizzazz, it lacks complexity. It's pretty, it's not one-dimensional, it has a couple of dimensions, but it just isn't doing it for me. You know what I'm saying? It's just not coming alive. It's just not expressing itself. It's just not saying, yeah, this is a Syrah, drink me, drink me, drink me. It's just not doing that for me. It has some good things to it, I'll say that. I think it's above average. I'm going to go C plus, B minus. $23, not a bad price. I don't think anybody's going to hate it by any stretch, but I just think it's a little bit boring. Let's just put it, it's a boring Syrah. Let's move on. 2013, Milbrandt Vineyards, The Estate Syrah, Wahaloop Slope, Washington. This is their Clifton Hill vineyard, and this rolls in at $40. Rents here. So we're not talking chump change, $40. This is their Estate Series wine though, and made by my good friend Josh Maloney, who no longer works for them. Good luck with Josh. He has a great cab called Maloney. We might do that on this episode. Well, let's see what we get on the nose. Not much going on really. You get a little licorice for sure. I get like dried cardboard, which is I'm always curious when I get that on wine. It's not corked. Corked is more like a wet cardboard smell, like almost a moldy kind of cardboard smell. Get tobacco for sure. So I'm getting like this licorice and tobacco. And I'm going to kind of say a cross between cherries and currants. Neither one kind of super prominent. Said, oh yeah, those are cherries. Oh yeah, those are currants. It's kind of a little bit of both. You know, like somebody blended them in a blender. Let's see what we get on the palate. This is closed. I'm really curious about that. This is kind of closed up. And 13, great vintage in Washington State. I've had some really good 13s. I know in my last episode, I tasted the Seven Falls Merlot 2013. Wasn't super excited about that. Kind of disappointed it didn't show. This is closed up, actually. More tannins on this one for sure. I'm trying to, I guess I could describe closed up. When you drink a wine, you can kind of tell there's potential there. You can feel it, but it just is lying underneath, like there's something over the top, you know, not letting it, you know, kind of like, you can't come out yet, you gotta stay there, sort of thing, you know. But it's there. I get a lot of leather, a lot of red flowers. I get good tobacco notes. The red flowers kind of mask the actual type of fruit. A little bit of the red flowers with a little bit of wow. Black pepper notes come through on the very back of the finish, and the finish is going on and on and on. I kind of would, if you have a 13 Clifton Hills Vineyard Syrah from Milbrandt, I would let it sit for another 5 years. This is a baby, good acidity, red flowers, tobacco, leather, lots of leather, good minerality, a little black pepper on the finish, and I'm going to go blackberries, but blackberries, muted blackberry notes. And yeah, I'm getting a little bit of like a blackberry leaf stem thing going on underneath, especially on the mid palate. This isn't super exciting to me for 40 bucks. I think it's mainly because it's not ready yet, and I'm afraid if somebody pops this and pours this, and now I'm going to try it a little bit later to see if it opens up a little bit, but I'm going to go give this the benefit of the doubt because it hasn't opened up yet. I can see the potential. I like the minerality, I like the leather, I like the blackberries, I like the vegetal component. I'm gonna go B minus on this wine. It's $40. It's a lot of money to spend on a wine and have it not express itself. But if you have bought one of these, put it away, please. That's why they always, it's always suggested you buy 3 or 4 bottles of one wine. If you have a lot of money, buy a case. Wait a couple, 2 or 3 years, open it up, see how it's doing. Then you can tell, like this one, I can tell this one needs aging. This could be an AA plus wine in 5 years. I don't know. I'm not that smart. I can't predict that out. But I do say it has great aging potential. I'm going to go B minus, and we'll just stick with that. All right, let's move on. (2013), another 13. I'm pretty sure this was 13. Yep. 2013, Sparkman Cellars Ruckus Red Mountain Syrah. I love Red Mountain. I think you guys know that. Now this runs in at $52. Chris Sparkman, great guy. Started his winery at a restaurant on a napkin with Charles Smith. Basically, they kind of mapped it out there and he went from there. And he's done fairly well for himself. He makes some great wines. All right. Red Mountain, you heard me say it many times, one of my favorite appellations in Washington State. There's a lot of great appellations. Columbia Gorge is a great appellation. There's great ones. But I just happen to personally love Red Mountain fruit and the wines that come out of that area. Very small appellation, too, also. So we'll get on the nose here. Might want to see it. I don't know if I zoomed in on Milbrandt. I get excited about Syrah, as you can tell. There you go. Ruckus, 52 bones, guys. This is not chump change. And now I feel obligated to show the Milbrandt because I'm not sure if I did it. This came out of my cellar. I think I did. I'm losing it. There's your Milbrandt Estates Syrah. You can see the marks on the label from being in my rack. Okay, so the Ruckus Syrah from Sparkman Cellars. Let's see what we get on the nose. Right off the bat, way more interesting than the other two. I get like stinky leather, which is always kind of cool. Stinky leather, chocolate, licorice. Little dried cardboard on this one too. I don't know what that's all about. Who knows? Maybe it's just my nose. Blackberries and currants on the nose. Let's see what we get on the palate. I got to work on my skills there. Now this is what we're talking about when we're talking about Syrah. Milbrandt, I can't tell you for sure because it's closed up. This is not closed. This is big, bold Syrah with great structure. Very clean on the palate. I like that. But the blackberry and currant notes just penetrate the palate front to finish with a little leather underneath. You know, it has that little leather action. I really like the violets that come through on mid-palate, the licorice and the tobacco, and then it goes in and gets a little tight grip on the back end saying, yeah, you can drink me now, it's okay, you better have a little bit of food, and I can age. That's saying a lot about a wine. Good now, better have it with food, and this baby will age easily 5 to 10 years, it's only going to get better and better. And hopefully, I doubt if you can get the well, maybe you might be able to get the 13 Ruckus Syrah, because sometimes, luckily for us, Syrah hangs around a little bit longer, let's say a Cab or a Chardonnay or other wines that people are excited about, whereas Syrah's still kind of stuttering along with Merlot. So a lot of times you can get it. Hopefully you can get your hands on some of this. I know it's $52, but it's worth $52. And I don't say that a lot about a lot of wines, but this has structure, this has a delicious factor, this has complexity, this has a lot of things going on. I would love to have this with a big prime rib or a New York steak or something. Well, it's not a New York, not rib steak, that's what I meant to say. You want a little bit of fat on that baby to match this wine. It's drying out my lips. It's delicious. It's big, but has so much structure, and the tannins are really, really solid on this wine. I'm going to go AA+. Don't do that very often, but I'm going AA and plus on this wine. I think it's a good investment. I think if you really like Syrah and want to get the real expression of Washington State Syrah, Mill Brand, $40. Novelty Hill, kind of boring, but this is what it's all about. Sorry about the other two, but that's the way these shows roll sometimes. Remember, give me some comments how I can improve. I got the blue collar. Got it. I'm going to have to wear the same shirt a couple of times because I don't have a ton of shirts with blue collars. The blue check collar, no less. Hook me up on Twitter, Stan the Wine Man. Read my blogs, StanTheWineMan.com and the Blue Collar Wine Guy on the PI. Also, subscribe to this channel, please. It helps me to have subscribers. I like it. It encourages me to keep doing these. And if you have anything to say, say it. I'll answer you. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.
Hey, Cat. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I just left the studio. Here we are in Harlem. Everybody's here but the police, and they'll be here anyway. It's high time, so catch the song. Here it is.